So already we should have looked at what success looks like for us, and broke that down to what would be a successful year over the next 12 months that we're open, that puts us on track for a successful year 2, successful year 3, 5, and so forth. So our goal of what ultimate success from our business should look like, we can see, and we're on track for that. And we should have also worked out the potential of the salon, and to see if there's any untapped potential in the salon. Maybe the salon is capable of a lot more than what we're asking it to do. All right, so we can see the potential within the salon. We know what our goal is over a year. We've worked on the power of 10%, where we make little changes in little key areas of just 10% can make a huge change over the salon overall. And we should hopefully broken down our 1 year goal into basically the people that we need, the average bill we need to achieve, the amount of visits that we need to come in, what our service is going to cost as our average bill, and our journey, what we're going to offer, what the experience is going to be for our salon guests. So the amount that we want them to pay then becomes a bargain, and then that all fits. Hopefully that's the stage you're at now. Now, the next thing is to, instead of looking at what we want to do, now we need to look at what we have been doing, to see if there's any easy bridges from where we are to where we need to be. So there's two things I want to look at. What the stylists basically have been doing, okay, and the types of services that they've been doing. So I want you to look at each stylist over a period of time. Obviously it's going to vary depending on how long the stylists have been on the salon floor or have been with you, but a reasonable length of time so you get a good average. So you might need to go back as far as you reasonably can until your last price increase or something like that. But basically you're going to know, and for everyone it's going to be slightly different. If someone's only been on the floor for a very short period of time, there's just a small amount of data that you can look at, of course. But if someone's got a lot of data, just don't look at a small window. Try and get a proper average of what's going on. You really want to see how many guests that they're doing, maybe per week, and as a pool of people. Okay, so that can be worked out by the frequency of visit. So if they've got an average of 10 guests per week and their guests come every 10 weeks as an average, then basically they've got a pool of about 100 people. Maybe what we're looking for is, if they've got a pool of about 100 raving fans, can we get more out of those raving fans? Okay, so we want to look at the number of guests they have, number of guests they're doing per week, their average bill, their retail, their professional sales, the frequency of visit, and the retention. So how many guests are they keeping? How many new guests are they getting? We want to look at that as well. And who's good at getting new guests and who's good at keeping them? Where should they be going, the new guests going in? If you've got a particular star that's brilliant at converting new guests, getting them past that third appointment, then maybe we should be pushing more new guests towards that person, because that will build up the bank of people for the salon to market. Frequency, are they coming every 10 weeks? If we got that down to 6 weeks, what a huge difference that would make. Are they coming 12 weeks, maybe even more? Who knows? And I appreciate, I really didn't want to mention it, but of course if there's been a pandemic and a lockdown, that's going to really muck up your frequency. I completely get that. So you can only do this exercise as best you possibly can, and you're going to have to take a judgment on the data, of course. But you want to find that out for each stylist. Also, what you want to bear in mind is I'm really keen on this, because sometimes if you just look at some of the data and not all of it, it can give you a very different picture. So let's take 2 stylists for argument's sake. We've got a young stylist, stylist B, and they're not growing. They charge £35 and they're really not growing. We've got another stylist A, they're a star. They take £1,500 a week. They're banging clients in and out all the time. They charge, £50, and you think that they're brilliant and the clients love them. If you take a look at their average bill, if their average bill is around about 35, this client had this offer and this client had this offer and blah, blah, blah. But the truth is, if guests are getting them for about £35, then really that stylist B, that's why they're not growing, because from the guest point of view, if I can spend £35 and I can have stylist A who's been doing it for 15 years, really experienced, or it's stylist B, and stylist B's not been doing it very long, if there's not much difference in the price, then, well, stylist B's not going to grow, and they're going to actually be suffocated by stylist A. And you think stylist A is a star because they're taking all the money and they're fantastic and blah, 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 but actually they're strangling the salon because they're not charging what they should be charging. So sometimes these little exercises throw up little things like that. And then what you need to do, of course, is then, look at what training we can do to get the salon back to really where we want it to be. So really good exercise. See exactly where we are, see if there's any potential price increases. They're doing really well, I can maybe sneak their price up a little bit, and see what training the team need, and know basically what you would expect result wise if that was on track. So you can say to them, I'm giving you this training because this is what's going to happen. I'm going to set you a target. I'm giving you this training on, say, smoothing, for argument's sake, because I see that you're not doing any smoothing, but I'm going to expect you to do, at least one a week, and over the course of the year, I'm going to expect you to take X amount in smoothing. That's your target. And then all of a sudden, that's X amount that you weren't getting. The other thing that I want us to look at is service mix, okay? So that as a salon, what percentage of treatments are we doing? How much money are we taking per year out of treatments? How much money are we taking out of colour? What percentage gents do we have? What smoothing? What percentage smoothing? And how much do we take per year out of that? Could we take more there? Hair up and styling. And is there more we can take there? How much of it is cutting? And let's have a look at the percentages, and then have a look at what you want to do. Then what I would do is do a SWOT analysis. So a SWOT analysis is you draw basically a big box and you divide it into 4. Okay, so it's like a window, if you like. Top left is S, and that's for strengths, and in there you write all your strengths. Top right is weaknesses, right? So W, then O is underneath strengths, and that's opportunities. So your opportunities are, if you make the most of your strengths and address your weaknesses, what opportunities do you have? Okay, and the last one is T in the last box, and that's threats, and that's if I don't address these weaknesses and they get worse, and I don't make the most of the strengths, what are the threats that I'm looking at? What are the threats to the business? So do a SWOT analysis based on what you find out through your service mix, and see what training, what opportunities there are, and so you can actually bridge that gap from where we are right now to where you want to be after 12 months, the next 12 months of being open. Okay.